Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey, not just across continents, but across time itself. We're diving deep into the heart of South America, beneath a breathtaking emerald canopy, to discover the epic origin story of one of Earth's most mesmerizing natural wonders. Get ready to be awestruck, because we're talking about the magnificent Iguazú Falls, a place where nature truly outdid itself. Now, to truly grasp the sheer scale and beauty of Iguazu, we need to understand where it all began. Picture this: a river, wide, restless, and incredibly ancient, born high in the mountains, and winding its way for over 1,000 kilometers through vibrant landscapes. This is the Iguazu River, a ribbon of life, and its journey is a story worth telling. It flows with purpose, carving its path, until it plunges dramatically into an abyss that has cemented its immortality in the annals of natural history. But the falls themselves aren't just a sudden drop. They are the culmination of an extraordinary geological saga. To really understand Iguazu Falls, we can't just look back a few decades, or even a few centuries. We need to rewind the clock, millions upon millions of years. Imagine a time when this very land, where lush jungle now thrives, was a canvas for fiery, volcanic artistry. The earth itself was reshaping, rumbling, and creating. It was a period of immense geological upheaval, a world in flux. Deep within the earth's crust, colossal fissures tore open. Think of it like giant cracks appearing across the planet's surface. And through these fissures, something incredible happened. Torrents of molten basalt, glowing and incandescent, erupted upwards. This wasn't just a trickle, it was an outpouring of liquid rock that spread like dark, fiery seas across the vast expanse of the continent. It covered everything in its path, transforming the landscape in ways we can barely imagine today. When those fierce, molten fires eventually cooled, they didn't just vanish. They left behind a monumental legacy. Massive, impenetrable stone plateaus. These weren't just any rocks. These were the Purana basalt formations, an unbelievably strong and durable foundation. Picture immense layers of hardened volcanic rock, stretching for miles. These ancient formations became the bedrock, the very foundation upon which everything else would eventually be built. It was on these colossal basalt platforms that the vibrant jungle would someday take root, and the mighty rivers would begin their eternal dance. This was a stage being set, the canvas prepared for a masterpiece. Then, over ages that are almost impossible for us to comprehend, ages untold and countless, a different kind of force began its patient, persistent work. Rain, simple, everyday rain, yet armed with the power of time, started to carve its signature across this new, hardened landscape. Droplet by droplet, storm by storm, the water worked tirelessly. The Iguazu River, originating from the beautiful Serra do Mar mountains in Brazil, wasn't idle either. It flowed relentlessly, slowly but surely gnawing at the edges of this tough basalt. Inch by inch, century after century, the river eroded the rock. It was a silent, persistent battle between water and stone. This process continued for millennia, with the river gradually deepening its channel, searching for weaknesses in the colossal basalt formations. And then, finally, after all that incredible geological drama and eons of patient erosion, one section of that mighty basalt plateau could no longer hold. Collapse. And when it collapsed, the river didn't just drop a little bit. No, the Iguazu River, which had been steadily flowing, suddenly plunged downwards, not by a few meters, or even 10 meters, but by an astonishing 80 meters. Imagine that sheer, sudden drop. This wasn't just a small waterfall. This was the beginning of something truly spectacular. What started as a modest cascade, an initial crack in the Earth's surface, evolved over even more time, with the river continuing to carve and shape the landscape into something absolutely monumental. It became a system of 275 distinct waterfalls. Can you even picture that? 275 separate cataracts, some roaring, some gently tumbling, all working in unison. These falls stretch out across an astounding nearly 3 kilometers wide, forming a natural amphitheater of thunderous sound and perpetual mist. It's a place where the air itself shimmers with rainbows, where the power of nature is so palpable you can feel it in your bones. From volcanic fires shaping continents, to the patient persistence of water, the story of Iguazú Falls is a testament to the incredible forces that sculpt our planet. It's a reminder that beauty often emerges from the most profound and ancient of processes. And to think, this stunning wonder, this birth of a giant, all started millions of years ago with fire and rock, sculpted by water and time. We're embarking on an epic journey to a place where nature doesn't just whisper, it roars. A place so grand, so awe-inspiring, it reminds us of the sheer power and artistry of our planet. We're talking about Iguazú Falls. Now, before you even see it, you can feel it. The air hums with anticipation, a distant rumble growing louder with every step. But what you might not realize is that this magnificent spectacle didn't just appear overnight. Oh no, this is a story told over ages untold. A narrative etched in stone by the most patient artist of all. Rain. Imagine, if you will. Eons ago, the mighty Iguazu River, born from the majestic Serra do Mar Mountains in Brazil, began its relentless march. It flowed, not with a burst of fury, but with quiet persistence, slowly, patiently gnawing at the ancient basalt rock beneath. Inch by inch, century after century, the water eroded, sculpted, and transformed the landscape. It was a slow dance of water and stone, a testament to the power of continuous, unwavering effort. Then, at some point in prehistory, something dramatic happened. A significant section of the land, weakened by millennia of erosion, finally gave way. The river dropped. But this wasn't just a small tumble. It was a monumental collapse. The river plunged, not by a few meters, but by an astonishing 80 meters. Imagine the raw force, the incredible energy unleashed in that moment. What began as a modest cascade, a simple break in the river's flow, evolved into something truly extraordinary. Today, what we witness is a sprawling system of 275 individual waterfalls, stretching nearly 3 kilometers wide. Can you even picture that? 3 kilometers of thundering water, mist-rooted rainbows, and the raw, untamed energy of nature. It's not just a waterfall, it's a natural amphitheater of sound and spray. A living, breathing testament to geological might. Geologists, with their precise scientific language, call it a fault line retreat. But if you ask a poet, they might call it the edge of eternity. A place where the world feels limitless, and time seems to stand still, even as the water rushes on. And here's a mind-bending thought. Iguazu isn't finished. It's still moving, still evolving. Each year, the river continues its tireless work, chiseling away another few centimeters of rock, gradually migrating upstream. It's like the falls are constantly rewriting their own story, carving new chapters into the very fabric of the earth. We're witnessing a dynamic, living geological process in action. And that's just incredible to consider. But Iguazu is so much more than just a geological wonder. It's movement made visible, yes, but it's also life made vibrant. The river doesn't flow through a barren wasteland. It weaves its way through a land that hums with life, a vibrant, emerald heart of the jungle. Think about it. Towering trees, so tall they dwarf cathedrals, reaching for the sky. Orchids, bursting forth in colors so vivid they look like painted masterpieces. Hues of sunrise and sunset adorning the ancient branches. And listen closely. The deep, resonant calls of howler monkeys echoing across the gorge. A wild symphony accompanying the water's roar. Every drop of water you see tumbling over these falls has a journey, a story. It has traveled through miles of dense jungle roots, absorbed nutrients from the rich, red earth, before finally surrendering to the incredible void, to the great plunge. When you're here, you don't just see the falls. If you close your eyes and truly listen, the falls speak. The roar isn't a single, monotonous sound. Oh no, it's a magnificent chorus. Hundreds of separate voices, each waterfall contributing its own unique tone to this vast natural symphony. Some falls whisper softly, like delicate veils of mist, drifting gently in the breeze. Others crash with the force of 1,000 drums, a thunderous rhythm that vibrates through your very soul. Together, they create a rhythm that never stops, a perpetual motion machine of water and sound. Day or night, season after season, the symphony plays on, an eternal heartbeat of the jungle. The sheer scale of the Devil's Throat section, a massive U-shaped chasm where most of the river's volume plunges, is truly humbling. When you stand on the viewing platforms, surrounded by the mist, feeling the spray on your face, it's not just water you're experiencing. It's a raw, elemental force. The sound is deafening, yet somehow meditative. It cleanses the mind, clears the senses, and leaves you with an overwhelming sense of wonder. And the wildlife here, it's phenomenal. Beyond the howler monkeys, you might spot exotic birds with vibrant plumage, colorful butterflies fluttering through the humid air, and even coatis, those curious, long-nosed creatures, scampering along the trails. It's an entire ecosystem thriving in harmony with this natural marvel, a testament to the interconnectedness of all life. Iguazu truly is a place of paradoxes. Immense power and delicate beauty, constant change and eternal presence. A geological wonder that feels utterly alive. It's a reminder that our planet holds secrets and spectacles far beyond our wildest imaginations, waiting for us to discover them, to be awestruck by them. It challenges us to think about time on a grander scale, to appreciate the slow, deliberate work of nature, and to stand in humility before its magnificence. So, if you ever get the chance to witness this marvel for yourself, take it. Let the roar fill your ears. Let the mist cool your skin. Let the sheer power of Iguazú Falls remind you of the incredible beauty and force that exists on our planet. It's an experience that stays with you long after you've left, a vivid memory of nature's grandest theater. We re-embarking on an incredible journey to a place where earth es raw, power and breathtaking beauty collide in an unforgettable spectacle. Forget everything you thought you knew about waterfalls, because what we're about to witness is on an entirely different scale. We're talking about a wonder so vast, so mesmerizing. It truly feels like another world. For ages untold, rain, drop by patient drop, has carved its signature across this ancient landscape. Imagine the relentless work of water over millennia. The mighty Iguazu River, born high in the Serra do Mar mountains of Brazil, began its slow, determined dance with the basalt rock beneath. Inch by inch, century after century, Itnawet, Hawaii, eroding the stubborn stone, until finally, dramatically, a massive section of the earth simply collapsed, and the river, which had flowed so steadily, took an 80-meter plunge. Not a modest drop, but a colossal, awe-inspiring descent. What started as perhaps a simple cascade, a small ripple in the landscape, slowly but surely evolved into something truly monumental. Today, it's a system of 275 distinct waterfalls, stretching almost 3 kilometers wide. Can you even picture that? A natural amphitheater of thunderous roars and shimmering mist. A living, breathing testament to nature's artistry. Geologists, with their precise scientific language, call it a fault line retreat. But poets, those who truly capture the essence of such grandeur, they call it the edge of eternity. And you know what? Both are right. Because Iguazu isn't static. It's still moving, still growing, still reshaping itself before our very eyes. Each year, with the same patient determination, the river chisels away another few centimeters of rock, gradually migrating upstream, constantly rewriting its own epic story. In fact, if you could see it from above right now, imagine a drone pulling back, revealing the iconic horseshoe curve of the Devil's Throat, an immense chasm perpetually engulfed in a swirling, ethereal mist. It's a view that quite literally takes your breath away. But Iguazu is so much more than just geology, more than just rocks and water. It's movement made visible, the very pulse of life itself. The river, before it takes its magnificent dive, flows through a land that absolutely hums with vibrant life. Picture this: trees reaching skyward, taller than magnificent cathedrals, their ancient branches forming a verdant canopy. Below them, orchids burst forth in an explosion of color, vibrant as a sunrise. And listen closely. Can you hear them? The deep, resonant calls of howler monkeys echoing across the vast gorge, a primal soundtrack to this untamed paradise. Every single drop of water that tumbles over these cliffs has traveled an incredible journey, weaving its way through miles of intricate jungle roots and rich red earth, absorbing the essence of this wild place before finally surrendering to the void below. It's a journey steeped in life, leading to an explosion of power. If you close your eyes and just listen, the falls truly speak. That incredible roar you hear isn't just one monolithic sound. No, it's hundreds, thousands of separate voices, each waterfall contributing its own unique tone to a vast, natural symphony. Some falls whisper in delicate veils of mist, a soft, ethereal sigh. Others crash down with the force of thunderous drums, vibrating through the very air around you. And together, all these individual voices create a rhythm that never, ever stops, day or night. Through every season, a constant, powerful beat of the earth. It's an auditory masterpiece you have to experience to believe. To put the sheer scale into perspective, scientists estimate that in a single second, nearly 2 million liters of water plunge over these majestic cliffs. Just take a moment to imagine that. That's the equivalent of an entire Olympic swimming pool emptied every 2 seconds, constantly, forever. Think about that, raw, untamed power. It's an incredible combination of power, breathtaking beauty, and a poignant sense of impermanence, nature's art in spectacular, unending motion. Yet, even as it overwhelms every one of your senses, Iguazu holds a strange, profound serenity. When you gaze down from above, the water can seem to drift in slow motion, shimmering and sparkling in the sunlight, a liquid diamond. But then, as you venture closer, perhaps even to the base of the falls, you feel it, a deep, resonant vibration in your chest, a powerful thump that feels like a heartbeat older than humanity itself, connecting you to the very core of our planet. The Guarani people, who have lived in this magnificent region for thousands of years, have their own beautiful and powerful legends about these falls. They believed the river was born not merely from geological forces, but from Lao, and yes, even jealousy, between their ancient gods. To them, these incredible falls were not simply water, but a sacred doorway, a portal between worlds, and divine rage ultimately gave birth to this roaring, miraculous spectacle. Every river begins somewhere, but only one, only Iguazu, truly becomes a song of thunder and light. We're talking about Iguazú Falls, a spectacle so grand it literally takes your breath away. Scientists estimate that in a single second, nearly 2 million liters of water plunge over these cliffs. Can you even imagine that? It's like an Olympic swimming pool being emptied every 2 seconds, non-stop, forever. This isn't just water falling. It's power, beauty, and impermanence all rolled into one, nature's ultimate art in motion. Yet, even as it overwhelms all your senses, Iguazu holds this strange, profound serenity. When you gaze down from above, the water seems to drift in a kind of slow motion, shimmering and sparkling in the sunlight. But when you're standing below, you don't just see or hear it, you feel the vibration deep in your chest. A primal heartbeat that feels older than humanity itself. It's a reminder of Earth's raw, untamed energy. For thousands of years, the Guarani people have lived in harmony with this land. They believed the river was born from a powerful blend of love and jealousy, a divine drama playing out across the landscape. To them, these falls weren't just water cascading down. They were a sacred doorway, a shimmering veil between worlds. And in the chapters ahead, we're going to dive deep into their incredible legend. It's a story where breathtaking beauty, heart-wrenching betrayal, and divine rage converge to give birth to this roaring miracle we know today. Every river begins somewhere, but only one becomes a song of thunder and light, a place where the earth remembers its own powerful heartbeat. This is the beginning of Iguazu and the legends of the Guarani. Long before any European explorers ever mapped this majestic river, before airplanes ever traced its magnificent shape from the sky, the Guarani people walked these ancient forests. They moved barefoot, guided by the soft whisper of unseen streams and the invigorating scent of coming rain. To them, the Iguazu River was never simply just water. It was a living, breathing being. A powerful protector, a profound spirit that breathed life through the towering trees, sang its joyful melodies through the vibrant birds, and spoke with undeniable authority through the thunderous roar of the falls themselves. They lovingly called it Iguazu, which means the great water. And just like all great waters, it carried within its depths countless stories, legends passed down through generations. The Guarani held a deep belief that this mighty river flowed with pure emotion. At times it was calm and gentle, a soft murmur through the banks, and at other times it was fiercely passionate and undeniably jealous. At the very heart of their most cherished legend lies a tale of profound love and divine fury. A long, long time ago, a powerful serpent god named Embo ruled the mighty Iguazu River. Amboya was a fearsome deity with scales that shimmered like emeralds and eyes that held the depth of the deepest waters. He demanded reverence, and the Guarani people honored him with sacrifices, ensuring the river remained calm and provided for their needs. Every year, a young maiden, pure of heart and unparalleled in beauty, was chosen to be offered to Emboy. It was a solemn tradition, believed to keep the serpent god appeased and the waters flowing peacefully for their sustenance. Now, in a Guarani village, nestled deep within the lush emerald embrace of the forest, there lived a warrior named Taruba. And there was also Napi, a maiden whose beauty was so striking, so ethereal, that it was said the moon itself paused in the sky to admire her. Her eyes held the deep, reflective tranquility of the river at dawn, and her laughter was as melodious as the most exotic bird song. Taruba and Napi had fallen deeply, passionately in love. Their hearts beat as one, their spirits intertwined like the strongest jungle vines. But their love was born under a shadowed prophecy, for Napi was destined for a fate far grander and far more tragic than any earthly union. As the sacred time of the annual offering approached, the village elders, with heavy hearts and a sense of duty etched upon their faces, made their solemn announcement. Napi, the radiant Napi, was chosen to be the next offering to Emboy, the serpent god of the river. A hush fell over the village, followed by a profound sadness. Napi, with her gentle spirit, accepted her fate with quiet grace, believing it was her destiny to ensure the well-being of her people. But Taruba, the fierce warrior, could not accept this cruel decree. His love for Napi was a raging fire within his soul, far too potent to be extinguished by ancient customs or divine demands. Driven by a love that defied destiny, Taruba concocted a daring plan. On the eve of the sacrificial ceremony, as the moon cast long, ghostly shadows through the jungle, Taruba quietly stole Napi away. He placed her lovingly into a small, swift canoe, ready to paddle them both away from the village, away from Emboy's grasp, and into a future where their love could finally blossom freely. They pushed off silently into the dark, flowing waters of the river, hoping to escape under the cover of night. Their hearts pounded with a mixture of fear and exhilaration, each stroke of the paddle bringing them closer to freedom, or so they desperately hoped. But the mighty Emboy, the powerful serpent god, was not to be cheated. His serpentine senses, attuned to every ripple and current of his domain, soon detected their audacious escape. His divine rage was ignited, burning hotter than 1,000 suns. His jealousy a venomous tide. He felt the betrayal deep within his ancient, scaly heart. How dare a mere mortal defy his will and steal his destined offering? In a fit of earth-shattering fury, Emboy lashed his colossal tail, slamming it down with unimaginable force. The very ground trembled, the riverbed split open, and the world around them convulsed. The once calm river was violently torn apart, creating a chasm of thunderous water, a gaping maw in the earth. The ground shattered, creating massive, jagged cliffs that tore through the landscape. The river, once a smooth path, now plummeted into a raging abyss. Taruba and Napi, still in their small canoe, were caught in the cataclysm. Their small vessel was instantly capsized, thrown into the churning, falling waters. In his vengeful wrath, Emboy transformed Napi into one of the cascading falls, her beautiful hair becoming the endless, shimmering spray forever falling, always just out of reach. And Taroba, the brave warrior, was turned into the tall palm tree that still stands eternally bent over the precipice, forever gazing at his beloved, eternally separated by the roaring, thundering waters of the falls. His roots cling to the earth, his leaves reaching, always reaching, for the mist of his beloved. And Mboy himself, he plunged into the deepest parts of the newly formed falls, burrowing into the very rock beneath, forever watching, forever guarding his domain, and ensuring the eternal separation of the two lovers. It's said that even today, when the sun shines just right, you can see Napia's tearful face in the shimmering mist of the falls, and Taroba, sorrowful silhouette in the palm tree, forever longing, forever watching. The Guarani say that the roar of the falls is not just the sound of water, but the eternal cry of Mboya's rage, Napia's sorrow, and Taroba's undying love. It's a powerful reminder of how love, jealousy, and divine fury can shape the very landscape, leaving behind a masterpiece of natural wonder and timeless tragedy. So, the next time you gaze upon the incredible Iguazú Falls, remember this ancient legend. Remember the love of Taroba and Napi, the rage of Mboy, and the powerful forces that converge to create this breathtaking spectacle. We re-embarking on a journey to a place where nature, as power, meets timeless legend. A place so magnificent, it inspired tales of gods and mortals. We're talking about the majestic Iguazú Falls. Now, you might think you know the Iguazu from stunning photos or travel documentaries. But what if I told you there's a story woven into its very currents, whispered by its thundering roar? Long before explorers mapped this incredible river, before airplanes traced its shape from the sky, the Guarani people walked these forests barefoot. They were guided by the whisper of streams, the scent of rain, and the ancient wisdom of the land. To them, the Iguazu River was far more than just water. It was a living being, a protector, a spirit that breathed through the trees, sang through the birds, and spoke through the thunder of the falls themselves. Te, Khalid Itiguasu, which beautifully translates to the great water. And like all great waters, especially ones this grand, it carried stories, deep, powerful stories, that tell us not just about the falls, but about the human heart, love, and fury. The Guarani believed that this river flowed with emotion. You could feel it. Sometimes it was calm and gentle, a reflective surface mirroring the sky. Other times, it was fierce and even jealous, a force of nature that demanded respect. At the very heart of their legend, explaining the very creation of these monumental falls, is a tale of passionate love and divine fury. It's a story that has been passed down through generations, echoing through the rainforest canopy. Imagine a time when the world was younger and gods walked among humans. There was a powerful deity named Mboy, who was the formidable guardian of the river. He was a being of immense power, often depicted as half serpent and half spirit, with eyes that could pierce the darkest night. Mboy, with all his might and majesty, fell deeply in love, but not with another god or a spirit of the forest. No, Mboy fell for a mortal woman named Napi. They say her beauty was so profound, so radiant, that it could calm the fiercest storms. Her presence brought a serene peace, and her voice, her voice was said to be softer than falling rain, a melody that enchanted all who heard it. Mboy, completely captivated, swore he would make Napi his bride, that she would share his eternal domain by the river. But as fate, or perhaps the river itself, would have it, Napi's heart already belonged to another. She loved a young warrior named Taroba. Taroba was not a god, but he possessed a different kind of strength. He was brave, kind, and his love for Napi was as pure and boundless as the sky above them. Their love was a secret, nurtured in the quiet corners of the forest, under the watchful eyes of ancient trees. Mboy, with his divine power, knew everything that happened in his domain. When he discovered Napi and Taroba's forbidden love, a rage unlike anything the world had ever seen shook the heavens and the earth. His fury was so immense, so all-consuming, that the very air crackled with his wrath. He was a god scorned, and his vengeance would be swift and terrible. On the night of their desperate escape, Napi and Taroba fled in a small canoe, pushing off into the dark, flowing waters of the Iguazu. The river, usually alive with sound, was silent at first. It was almost as if it was holding its breath, sensing the impending catastrophe, the gravity of the unfolding drama. Perhaps even the river spirits were in awe of Mboi's fury. But then, in a moment of divine, earth-shattering wrath, Mboya unleashed his power. He split the earth itself. The riverbed cracked open with a force that echoed through the entire landscape, creating an immense, deep chasm that stretched as far as the eye could see. The ground trembled, the trees swayed violently, and the world changed forever. The lovers, in their small canoe, were tragically swallowed by the newly formed colossal falls. It was a heart-wrenching end to their forbidden love, a moment frozen in the eternal roar of the water. But even in tragedy, the legend tells us there was transformation. Napi, with her unparalleled beauty, was transformed into the eternal mist that rises perpetually from the base of the falls, forever reaching toward the sky. You can see her, swirling and dancing, a testament to her ethereal presence. And Taroba, the brave warrior, was transformed into a towering tree overlooking the gorge, forever reaching endlessly toward her, his branches stretching out as if in a perpetual embrace. And Mboi, the powerful guardian, bound by his own curse and the consequences of his wrath, remained in the churning waters below. He is said to still be there, his roar manifesting in the thunderous sound of the falls, expressing his jealousy and sorrow for eternity. So, every time you hear the mighty roar of Iguazu, remember Mboi's eternal lament. When you feel the mist kiss your face, think of Napia's gentle spirit. And when you see the trees clinging to the gorge, remember Taroba's enduring love. This legend of Mboi Napi and Taroba reminds us that the world is filled with stories, even in the most magnificent natural wonders. It teaches us about the power of love, the danger of jealousy, and the enduring spirit of ancient cultures. Nature was never separate from story, from myth, from meaning. Every rock, every rustling leaf, every single drop of rain was alive with significance, a part of a grander narrative. To the Guarani, the forest wasn't just a collection of trees. It was their family, their home, a living, breathing entity. The rivers weren't just waterways, they were the veins of the earth, carrying life and sustenance. The thunder wasn't merely a storm, it was the powerful, booming voice of their ancestors, speaking to them from above. They didn't just live asterisk on asterisk this land, they lived asterisk with asterisk it, in harmony, in reverence. Their days began with the gentle, melodic song of the tinamou bird, a natural alarm clock for a people deeply connected to their They hunted only what they needed, taking only enough to sustain themselves, ensuring the balance of nature. Before fishing, they would offer thanks to the river, acknowledging its generosity and bounty. And when someone passed away, they believed their spirit didn't just vanish, it joined the eternal flow of water, becoming part of Iguazu's endless, magnificent journey. Imagined calm river flowing, Guarani, people in wooden canoes, smoke rising from small fires at sunset. This perspective, this way of seeing the world, is so incredibly beautiful and profound, don't you think? It reminds us that there's more to life than what we can measure, that sometimes the deepest truths are found in stories, in feelings, and in our connection to the world around us. The Guarani legend of Iguazú Falls isn't just a tale. It's a testament to love, jealousy, and the enduring power of nature. We're going to explore one of the most breathtaking natural wonders on Earth, Iguazú Falls. But we won't just look at its immense power. We'll dive deep into the ancient wisdom that first gave it meaning. Imagine a place where the earth rumbles, the air sings, and the mist kisses your face with tales from a distant past. Tatese, Iguazu, and even today, when the sunlight cuts through the spray just right. Locals say you can still see the ghostly silhouette of Napi dancing in the mist, her spirit glowing like a rainbow at dawn. And if you listen closely, really tune in to the crash of the devil's throat, you might just hear Manboy's endless, echoing cry. It's a story of passion, heartbreak, and transformation, woven into the very fabric of this incredible landscape. This, my friends, is how the Guarani people, the original inhabitants of this land, explained the birth of Iguazú Falls, not through science or stone, not through geological shifts or erosion, but through feeling, through emotion, through an epic tale that connects us all to the natural world. To them, nature was never separate from story. It was the story itself. Every rock, every swirling eddy, every drop of rain was alive with meaning. It was a living, breathing narrative that guided their lives. For the Guarani, the forest wasn't just a collection of trees, it was their family. The mighty rivers weren't just waterways. They were the veins of the earth, pulsing with life and energy. The thunder wasn't just a weather phenomenon. It was the powerful, resonant voice of their ancestors, speaking to them from above. They didn't merely live on this land. They lived asterisk with asterisk it, in a profound and symbiotic relationship that many of us can only dream of. Their days began with the gentle, melancholic song of the tinamou bird, a natural alarm clock that harmonized with the dawn. They hunted only what they needed, taking just enough to sustain themselves, always mindful of the balance of their ecosystem. Before casting their nets, they thanked the river, acknowledging its generosity and the life it sustained. And when someone died, they believed their spirit didn't just leave. It joined the flow of water, becoming an eternal part of Iguazu's endless, magnificent journey. It's a beautiful vision of interconnectedness, isn't it? Of life and spirit flowing on forever. Through these stories, their myths became maps, not just physical maps to navigate the dense jungle, but moral maps, guiding them through life, teaching their children respect for the seen and the unseen, for the tangible and the spiritual. These tales instilled a deep reverence for the delicate balance of their world. Even the mighty devil's throat, or Garganta del Diablo as it's known, the deepest and most violent of all the waterfalls, held sacred power for them. They called it Garganta del Diablo, not because it was evil or sinister in the way we might perceive devil today, but for the immense, untamable force that no human could challenge. In Tier eyes, it wasn't a threat. It was the earth breathing, exhaling mist and thunder to remind all who listened of its incredible strength, its raw, untamed power, and her own small place within it. It was a humbling, awe-inspiring presence that demanded respect. Then, in the 16th century, Spanish explorers arrived. They heard these incredible stories, these rich, intricate narratives of gods and spirits, of love and sacrifice, of the very birth of the falls. And sadly, they dismissed them as mere superstition. They couldn't grasp the depth of meaning, the profound connection that the Guarani felt for their land. They saw land to be conquered, resources to be extracted, not a living, breathing entity imbued with spirit. But centuries later, something extraordinary happened. Geologists, with their scientific instruments and theories of tectonic plates. Biologists, studying the unique ecosystems born of this incredible humidity. And travelers from every corner of the world, speaking countless languages, would all stand at those very same cliffs. They would stand there, utterly speechless, feeling the same powerful mix of fear and awe that the Guarani had felt for millennia. Because no matter what language you speak, no matter what gods you believe in, no matter your background or your scientific understanding, when you stand before Iguazú Falls, the feeling is universal. It's a moment of profound realization. You are small, truly tiny, amidst this immense display of nature's grandeur. And the world, in its power and beauty, is infinite. It reminds us that there's so much more to experience, so much more to feel, than we often allow ourselves to imagine. Iguazú Falls isn't just a tourist destination. It's a living legend. It's a place where the veil between the physical and the spiritual feels incredibly thin. It challenges us to look beyond what we can immediately see, to feel the stories woven into the spray, to hear the ancient cries and the thunderous roar. It invites us to reconnect with that sense of wonder, that deep respect for nature that the Guarani so beautifully embodied. So, the next time you find yourself dreaming of travel, or simply looking for a moment of peace and wonder, remember Napi and Imboy. Remember the Guarani and their profound connection to the earth. Because some places don't just exist, they tell stories that resonate deep within our souls, reminding us of the magic that still exists in the world. Get ready to dive deep into the heart of a wonder that has captivated souls for centuries. Iguazú Falls. Before any maps were drawn or modern cities rose, long before the world knew its name, the Guarani people lived and thrived in the lush embrace of the South American jungle. And let me tell you, these weren't just ordinary people. They were master storytellers, weavers of tales that weren't just entertainment but essential guides for life. Through countless generations, their myths became living maps, navigating them through the dense rainforest, teaching children respect for the unseen forces that shaped their world, and connecting them deeply to every rustle of leaves and every drop of water. These stories weren't just about heroes and villains. They were about understanding their environment, their place within it. And at the very heart of their spiritual and geographical landscape lay a power so immense, so awe-inspiring, it demanded reverence. We're talking about what we now know as the Devil's Throat, the deepest, most turbulent, and undeniably violent chasm of all the waterfalls. But for the Guarani, it wasn't a place of evil. They called it Garganta del Diablo. Yes, but not because of malevolent spirits. No, for them, it signified an immense, untamable force. A raw power that no human could ever hope to challenge. Imagine standing there, feeling the ground tremble, the air thick with mist, the roar a symphony of unimaginable scale. For the Guarani, this wasn't just water falling. It was the earth itself, breathing, exhaling mist and thunder, a colossal reminder of its raw, undeniable strength to all who listened, to all who dared to approach. It was a living, breathing entity, a testament to the planet's power, demanding respect and inspiring humility. Fast forward to the 16th century, and the world was changing. Spanish explorers, driven by discovery and conquest, arrived on these shores. They encountered the Guarani, heard their ancient stories, their intricate myths about the earth's breath and the sacred power of the falls. But blinded by their own worldview and perhaps a bit of cultural arrogance, they often dismissed these profound narratives as mere superstition, the fanciful imaginings of an uncivilized people. They couldn't grasp the depth of understanding embedded in these tales, the spiritual connection that was so intrinsic to the Guarani way of life. Yet, centuries would pass. The world would evolve, technology would advance, and science would seek to explain everything. But then, something amazing happened. Geologists with their scientific instruments trying to decipher the Earth's formations. Biologists marveling at the incredible biodiversity of the surrounding ecosystem. And countless travelers from every corner of the globe speaking every language imaginable would eventually stand at those very same cliffs. And what would they find? They'd find themselves speechless. That same mix of fear and awe that had gripped the Guarani for millennia would wash over them, because no matter what language you speak, no matter what gods you believe in, or even if you believe in none at all, when you stand before the colossal majesty of Iguazú Falls, the feeling is profoundly universal. You are confronted with an undeniable truth. You are small, and the world, in its grandeur and power, is truly infinite. It's an experience that transcends culture, language, and belief systems, hitting you right in the core of your being. For the Guarani, this place was, and to many, still is, a temple without walls. Think about that. A temple built not by human hands, but by the very forces of nature. Every single leaf dancing in the spray, every gentle breeze carrying the scent of the jungle, every ripple of water catching the light. For them, all of it is part of a prayer, a sacred conversation that has never stopped being spoken. It's a continuous hymn sung by the earth itself, a perpetual act of reverence. When you walk here, you walk among spirits. When you listen, you truly hear the earth remembering. And when you look upon the falling water, you glimpse eternity. It's a profound thought, isn't it? This place isn't just a tourist destination. It's a living legacy, a sacred space, and stepping into the age of European explorers and intrepid adventurers. We'll discover how these first Europeans stumbled upon this breathtaking, hidden paradise, and how, slowly but surely, Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey to a place where nature doesn't just sing. It absolutely roars. Forget everything you think you know about waterfalls. Because what we're about to explore is a symphony of power and beauty that has captivated hearts for millennia. We're talking about Iguazú Falls, a true wonder of the world. Now, before we dive into the thundering cascades, let's set the stage. Imagine a time long before our modern maps, when vast, untouched jungles stretched as far as the eye could see. For the indigenous Guarani people, this wasn't just a patch of forest. It was, and still very much is, a sacred sanctuary, a temple without walls. Every single leaf, every gentle breeze that whispers through the trees, every ripple on the countless streams flowing towards the mighty Iguazu. These aren't just natural phenomena. They are, for the Guarani, part of a prayer, a continuous song of life that has never, ever stopped being spoken. It's a profound connection to the land that we, from the modern world, often struggle to comprehend. Picture yourself walking through this ancient land, guided by the wisdom of the Guarani. When you walk here, among these towering trees and vibrant flora, you're not alone. You walk among spirits, the ancestors, the very essence of the earth. When you pause, when you truly listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart, you hear something extraordinary. You hear the earth remembering. The stories of creation, of life, of transformation, echoed in the rustling leaves and the distant murmur of water. And then, as you emerge from the dense canopy, as you gaze upon the falling water, the immense, powerful, awe-inspiring cascade of Iguazu, you don't just see water, you glimpse eternity. You witness a force of nature so immense, so timeless, that it feels like the very fabric of existence is unfolding before your eyes. It's a moment that transcends mere sight. It's an experience that resonates deep within your soul. That connection, that profound spiritual bond the Guarani share with Iguazu, is something truly special. It teaches us about respect, about living in harmony with our environment, and about finding sacredness in the natural world. They understood, innately, that this place was a source of life, a place of healing, and a source of incredible power. The legends surrounding Iguazu are as rich and intricate as the ecosystem itself. Speaking of gods, of love, of betrayal, and of the powerful spirits that reside within the waters and the surrounding forests, their reverence for these falls wasn't just folklore. It was a way of life, a guiding principle that protected and honored this incredible natural wonder for countless generations. They were the original guardians of Iguazu, living in perfect synchronicity with its rhythms. Now, as the thunder of the falls begins to grow louder in our minds, let's prepare for a leap through time, because in the next chapter of our journey, we travel forward from the ancient, spiritual world of the Guarani to a very different era. We're moving towards the age of explorers and adventurers, a time when European ships were charting unknown waters and new continents were being discovered. It's a fascinating shift, isn't it? From a deep, intrinsic understanding of the land to a perspective driven by exploration and mapping. We're going to uncover the incredible story of how Europeans first stumbled upon this hidden paradise, this jewel of South America, tucked away deep within the vast, green heart of the continent. Imagine the sheer disbelief, the awe, the wonder they must have felt when they first laid eyes on Iguazu. It wasn't just a geographic discovery. It was an encounter with something so magnificent, it defied all previous experience. And with that discovery, the world beyond the jungle, the rapidly expanding European empires, first came to know Iguazu. This moment marked a pivotal change, bringing Iguazu from being a sacred, local wonder to a global phenomenon, eventually becoming the incredible tourist destination it is today. The impact of this meeting of worlds, the ancient Guarani spiritual home, and the advent of European exploration, is a story rich with history, wonder, and sometimes complex consequences. The tales of these early encounters are truly captivating. Think about the sheer audacity and bravery it took to venture into these unknown territories. Imagine the dense, often impenetrable jungle, the diverse wildlife, the challenges of navigation, and then, after days, weeks, or even months of arduous travel, to suddenly come across this colossal natural spectacle, a series of waterfalls so immense they dwarf anything else on Earth. It must have been an absolutely mind-blowing experience, something that surely transcended their expectations of what nature was capable of. These encounters weren't just about marking new territory on a map. They were about encountering a force of nature that challenged their very understanding of the world. It was a moment of profound realization, a humbling experience that put humanity's perceived dominance into perspective. The very first written accounts, the earliest drawings and maps, attempted to capture the scale and majesty of Iguazu, struggling to convey its sheer power and beauty to those back home. It was truly an untamed frontier in every sense of the word, a place that held both immense beauty and incredible challenges for those who dared to venture there. Imagine a time when the world was still largely unmapped, when sheer courage and wild ambition pushed explorers to the ends of the earth. The year is 1541. Europe is right in the middle of its age of discovery, a period where maps were often drawn by pure guesswork, and oceans were crossed by sheer will. Now, picture this. In the far, uncharted reaches of South America, deep beyond the known rivers of this new world, Spanish explorers were desperately searching for something truly extraordinary. They were chasing whispers of a land overflowing with unimaginable wealth and profound mystery, a legendary place they called El Dorado. Among these ambitious adventurers was a man whose life story is almost unbelievable, Alvar Nanez Cabeza de Vaca. This wasn't just any soldier. He was a true survivor, a wanderer of impossible endurance. Think about it. After years of being shipwrecked, enslaved, and utterly lost across vast stretches of the Americas, de Vaca found himself in a new, daunting leadership role. He was now leading an expedition north from what is now Paraguay, determined to push through the untamed, unforgiving jungle. Why? Because he was following powerful rumors of a magnificent river, a waterway so immense, so powerful, that locals said it thundered like the very sky itself. Can you even begin to imagine the blend of hope and fear driving them forward? Day after grueling day, they marched. Their path was a relentless, dense forest, so humid it made their heavy armor rust right on their bodies. Their boots sank into the rich, red earth with every step. They fought off clouds of buzzing insects, listened to the unsettling cries of unseen animals, echoing from the shadows, and navigated the profound silence of a wilderness that felt undeniably alive. A wilderness that felt like it was constantly watching them. The mental and physical toll must have been immense. Every rustle, every shadow, every strange sound could have been a new danger. But they pressed on, fueled by the dream of El Dorado and the promise of that thundering river. And then, after all that struggle, all that doubt, all that sheer physical exhaustion, it came. The sound grew from a distant rumble to an undeniable roar, vibrating through the ground and echoing through the very air. Suddenly, the dense canopy broke, and before their disbelieving eyes stretched an immense, furious waterway. This was no ordinary river. It was a churning, powerful entity, a force of nature so grand it defied description. This was the legendary Parana River, though they didn't know its name then, only its incredible power. It was wide, turbulent, and absolutely breathtaking. They had found it, but finding the river was just the beginning. Their mission wasn't simply to marvel at nature. It was to find a path, a route to El Dorado. And the Parana, while mighty, presented new challenges. How do you cross such a behemoth? How do you navigate its currents? Their initial plan was to construct rafts, a perilous endeavor in itself. Imagine trying to fell trees and lash them together with crude tools, all while battling the relentless heat, humidity, and unknown creatures lurking nearby. De Vaca, ever the pragmatist and a survivor first, knew they couldn't just throw men into those churning waters. They needed to find a safer passage. They spent weeks, perhaps months, hugging the riverbanks, searching for a place where the current was less fierce, or where a crossing might be feasible. Every day brought new struggles, dwindling supplies, clashes with local tribes who saw them as intruders. and the ever-present threat of disease in the humid jungle. Despite the hardships, Devaka held his men together with a mixture of stern discipline and inspirational leadership. He had faced death countless times before, and his sheer resilience was infectious. He told stories of his previous adventures, of surviving against all odds, and perhaps, with each tale, he painted a brighter picture of the riches that awaited them. Their journey eventually led them to a series of powerful waterfalls, so grand they dwarfed anything they had ever witnessed. This wasn't just a river, it was a cascading wonder, an obstacle that seemed insurmountable. The roaring water plunged down with such force that the spray rose like mist, creating rainbows in the jungle light. These were the Iguazú Falls, one of the world's most spectacular natural wonders, though they had no idea of its future fame. For the explorers, these falls were not a tourist attraction, but a massive barrier. The dream of navigating the Parana directly to El Dorado seemed to crash and break against these powerful rocks. Devaka had to make a tough decision. His men were exhausted, demoralized, and on the brink. Continuing along the river was impossible. They had to turn inland, to trek through even denser jungle, hoping to bypass the falls and find a navigable section of the river further upstream. This meant abandoning their rafts and building new trails through untouched wilderness. It was an arduous, brutal task. They hacked their way through thick vegetation, climbed over slippery rocks, and navigated treacherous ravines. Illness spread through their ranks, and the jungle claimed the leaves with silent, merciless efficiency. He understood the psychology of his men, knowing when to offer a promise, when to share a burden, and when to simply lead by example. He wasn't just a leader. He was a scholar of the human spirit, having lived among indigenous tribes, learning their languages and their ways of survival. This experience, gleaned from years of hardship, was invaluable. He understood how to forge alliances, how to trade for supplies, and how to read the subtle signs of the forest. He used these skills to navigate not just the land, but the complex human dynamics of his expedition. Their relentless march eventually brought them back to the Parana, but now they were above the Great Falls. Here, the river was calmer, though still immense. They once again constructed boats, smaller, more agile vessels, and continued their journey northward. But the dream of El Dorado remained elusive. With every turn of the river, with every new vista, they found magnificent landscapes, incredible wildlife, but no golden cities, no emerald laden temples. They heard more whispers, more legends, but these were often contradictory, pointing in different directions. The Spanish thirst for gold was insatiable, and the allure of El Dorado kept them pushing further into the unknown. But what they truly found was something perhaps even more valuable, a deeper understanding of the vastness and majesty of the South American continent. They were mapping it, not with precise instruments, but with their blood, sweat, and sheer determination. Devaka's journey ultimately led him not to El Dorado, but to the settlement of Asunción, a nascent Spanish outpost in what is now Paraguay. He had effectively charted a significant portion of the Parana River, opened up new routes, and provided invaluable knowledge about the interior of the continent. While he never found the fabled city of gold, his expedition was a triumph of exploration and human endurance. He didn't return laden with gold, but with stories, maps, and an unparalleled understanding of the land and its people. He brought back tales of the immense waterfalls, the dense jungles, and the powerful rivers, forever changing Europe's understanding of the New World. His legacy isn't about finding a treasure, but about the incredible journey itself, the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds, and the relentless pursuit of the unknown. So, while El Dorado remained a myth, Cabeza de Vaca's incredible expedition across a continent stands as a testament to exploration, survival, and the enduring human desire to push beyond the known horizons. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found in gold, but in the experiences, the knowledge gained, and the sheer audacity of the journey itself. What an epic story, right? It makes you wonder what other incredible tales are hidden in the pages of history. If you will, a time before Google Maps, before photographs, before even basic exploration had charted much of our world. It's the early 16th century, and dense, untamed jungle stretches 4 miles in every direction. Now, picture yourself as part of a small, determined group of explorers, pushing through this challenging terrain. The air is thick with humidity. The sounds of the jungle are constant, and every step is a monumental effort. Suddenly, you hear it. At first, it's just a faint, distant murmur, a low, trembling sound, almost like the persistent whisper of wind rushing over a vast, unseen ocean. You stop, everyone exchanging, questioning glances. What could that be? Is it a storm brewing? Or something entirely different? As you press forward, the sound grows. It deepens, intensifying with every passing minute, transforming from a whisper into a rumble that vibrates through the very ground beneath your feet. You can feel it, a low thrumming resonance that tells you something immense is ahead. The trees, which have been a relentless, thick curtain around you, finally begin to part. And then, before your very eyes, the world as you know it seems to simply fall away. There's an abyss, a colossal chasm, and into it, with unimaginable force, plunges an entire river. For the first time in recorded European history, an outsider gazed upon Iguazú Falls. Pause for effect. Can you even begin to comprehend that moment? These explorers, led by the Spanish, Adelantado Álvar Núñez, Cabeza de Vaca, were hardened men. They had crossed oceans, battled indigenous tribes, endured starvation and disease. They had seen many incredible sights, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared them for this. De Vaca himself, in his own writings, tried to capture the sheer, overwhelming scale of it. He described how the water fell from a great height, producing a mist so dense that it rained upwards. Imagine that, water raining upwards because of the sheer power of the falls. He was so moved, so awestruck by this monumental natural spectacle, that and named it Saltos de Santa Maria, the Falls of St. Mary, after a name he revered. But here's the beautiful part of this story. The name that truly endured, the one that resonated through centuries and across cultures, was not the one given by an explorer. It was the name that the indigenous Guarani people had always known, the name that perfectly encapsulated its essence. Iguazu, which simply means the great water. And truly, it is great asterisk. Imagine that exact moment for De Vaca and his men. No maps to guide them, no photographs to give them a clue of what was ahead. Who stay raw, untamed sight of hundreds, even thousands, of individual waterfalls crashing in a thunderous symphony into a deep, churning abyss. Rainbows, brilliant and ephemeral, bloomed constantly in the colossal spray, arching across the sky like divine promises. The deafening roar echoed through the jungle, a sound so powerful it must have felt like the very voice of the earth itself. Even these soldiers, hardened by years of war, struggle, and unimaginable suffering, stood in absolute silence. Their usual chatter, their grumbling, their constant vigilance, all of it faded away. In that moment there was only profound, reverent stillness. For them, this wasn't just another discovery, not a potential source of gold or a strategic landmark. This was something far deeper. It was a revelation, an untouched, pristine masterpiece of nature, hidden away in the very heart of the continent, waiting to be seen. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated awe, stripping away all their preconceptions and leaving them humbled. Music softens, a gentle string and wooden flute melody begins yet. Despite this dramatic discovery, the world beyond the immediate jungle was surprisingly slow to learn of Iguazu's existence. The sheer remoteness, the difficulty of travel, and the focus of European powers on other parts of the Americas meant that for centuries, these magnificent falls remained largely unknown to the outside world. The Guarani people, for their part, continued their lives in perfect harmony with the powerful river, their traditions and culture intertwined with its rhythms. The dense, ever-encroaching jungle faithfully reclaimed every single footprint left by those early explorers, erasing their temporary paths and preserving its ancient secrets. It was as if Iguazu patiently waited for the right time, the right people, to truly be understood and appreciated. It wasn't until the 19th century, when a new wave of European naturalists, scientists, and missionaries ventured into these remote regions, that the world truly began to grasp what Cabeza de Vaca had seen so long ago. These new explorers came equipped not just with swords and ambitions, but with cameras and notebooks. They meticulously documented the flora and fauna, sketched the breathtaking landscapes, and captured the raw power of the falls. Their stories, images, and scientific observations started to filter back to Europe, igniting curiosity and wonder. Painters and poets, inspired by these accounts, began to describe the falls in vivid, evocative language. Teiga, tem liquid thunder, capturing the immense sound and power. Others referred to them as the weeping edge of the world, a poetic image that speaks to both their beauty and their scale, as if the very continent was shedding tears of joy or sorrow. These descriptions, combined with the growing ease of travel, slowly but surely brought Iguazu into the global consciousness as an unparalleled natural wonder. As the 20th century dawned, the two powerful nations divided by the river, but united by its incredible beauty, Argentina and Brazil, began to recognize the immense value and fragile nature of this natural treasure. They understood that such a place needed not just admiration, but active protection. And so, a beautiful, cooperative effort began. In Iguazu, Iguazu National Park was officially established on the Argentine side, setting aside vast tracts of land to preserve the falls and their surrounding ecosystem. Just a few years later, in 1939, Iguazu National Park was founded on the Brazilian side, creating a continuous binasan sanctuary for one of Earth's most spectacular sights. This foresight ensured that generations to come would be able to experience the same profound awe that Cabeza de Vaca and the Guarani people felt centuries ago. From a distant murmur to a recognized global treasure, Iguazú Falls is a testament to the enduring power and majesty of nature. It reminds us that there are still wonders in the world waiting to humble us, inspire us, and connect us to something far greater than ourselves. We're heading deep into the Serra do Mar mountains of Brazil to witness a phenomenon so magnificent it defies description. Imagine this. High up in these emerald mountains, it all begins quietly, not as a mighty river yet, but as countless tiny streams, weaving their delicate paths through ancient moss and weathered rock. Each drop of rain, each tear from the clouds, joins another. These small waters merge, gathering strength with every passing kilometer, slowly becoming one. This is the birthplace of the Iguazu River. Sound of water gently flowing, perhaps a bird call in the distance. It's a journey that stretches for over 1,300 kilometers, winding its way through some of the most vibrant, untouched jungles on Earth. You can almost feel the anticipation building as the river flows, knowing it's destined for something truly dramatic, a spectacular, thundering plunge into the abyss. Pause, the sound builds slowly. A deeper rumble starts to join the flow, subtle at first, then growing. To truly grasp the immense power of Iguazu, you have to understand its patience. This isn't just a waterfall. It's a living, breathing masterpiece, sculpted over millions of years. For eons, this river has been diligently carving its own path, grain by tiny grain, through volcanic rock laid down by ancient fires. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force its will. It simply flows unstoppable, tireless, and seemingly eternal. It's a profound lesson in persistence. Visual, time-lapse showing water eroding rock, or a shot of ancient rock formations. The rumble of water is more pronounced now, and when you finally stand before it, the rhythm of the falls is a captivating blend of chaos and harmony. Can you believe it? At any given moment, almost 2 million liters of water per second plunge from the edge. That number is almost too vast, too mind-boggling to fully imagine. But when you watch it, when you feel the spray on your face, it doesn't feel like a statistic. It feels like music. Music cue. Soft orchestral strings begin, layered with real waterfall sounds, synchronized like a grand, natural symphony. Listen closely, and you can truly hear it. Each individual waterfall, of which there are hundreds, seems to have its own unique tone. Some are deep and thunderous, shaking the very ground beneath your feet, while others are light, almost whispering, like secrets carried on the wind. Together, they create a natural orchestra, a grand composition that never, ever repeats itself. It's a symphony performed by nature, for all who are willing to listen. Visual. Slow aerial pan across 275 separate cascades, with rainbows beginning to glow vibrantly in the mist. The music swells. From high above, the river divides into countless narrow channels, each one an individual ribbon of water, finding its own path to the precipice. Then, from below, they reunite again. The mist rising like ethereal smoke, sunlight bending and fracturing into the most spectacular, vibrant rainbows you've ever seen. The sheer sound, the dazzling colors, the constant, hypnotic movement. It all blends together into something that can only be described as a living, breathing symphony. No human composer could ever write this music. No artist, no matter how brilliant, could ever paint its entirety. Because Iguazu is alive, constantly changing, always evolving. The sound of the falls softens slightly. The music becomes more delicate. Think about it. During the dry season, the river softens its roar. The water spreads a little thinner, creating more delicate, intricate curtains of water that sway gracefully in the breeze. You can even catch glimpses of the ancient black basalt rock behind them. Dark, primal, patiently waiting. But then, the rains return. Sound builds, distant thunder, then the increasing patter of heavy rainfall, and the sound of a rising current. And when those rains come, the falls awaken with a vengeance. The gentle song of the dry season transforms into a mighty storm. Water surges with an unstoppable, raw force, merging what were once separate cascades into one colossal, overwhelming wall of white fury. Trees bend and sway under the sheer pressure of the air, and the mist fills the entire world around you, so thick it blurs the very horizon. And yet, even through all this magnificent chaos, the beauty never disappears. It simply transforms, taking on a new, more powerful, awe-inspiring form. Softly, the music fades slightly to a reverent tone, still with subtle water sounds. That, my friends, is the true secret of Iguazu. It is never, ever the same river twice. Every visit offers a different spectacle, a new discovery, and this incredible force of water doesn't just change the landscape. It fundamentally changes life itself. Visual, close-up of mist-covered moss, delicate orchids growing in crevices. Below the falls, the air is so incredibly moist, so rich with life-giving vapor, that it creates tiny, unique ecosystems. Mosses cling to every available stone surface, vibrant green against the dark rock. Orchids, seemingly defying all odds, bloom in the most impossible places, adding bursts of color to the verdant landscape. And then, there are the butterflies. Drawn by the minerals carried in the spray, they fill the air like floating jewels. Splashes of yellow, brilliant blue, fiery red, shimmering silver. It's a breathtaking ballet of nature. Pores allow for the delicate sound of wings fluttering and a soft, gentle water trickle. The ancient Guarani people, who have lived on this land for generations, believed that these beautiful butterflies were the souls of those who had become one with the river. Today, biologists might simply call them part of the unique microclimate. But in truth, both perspectives hold a beautiful truth. Science explains the intricate process, but spirit, the human spirit, gives it profound meaning. Visual, wider shots showing the biodiversity. Birds, plants, maybe a glimpse of a small mammal. The entire Iguazu Basin is a biodiversity hotspot, a living testament to nature's abundance. It's home to over 2,000 species of plants, an incredible 400 kinds of birds, 80 different mammals, and countless insects, many of which remain unseen by the human eye. Here, everything, every single living thing, depends on this life-giving water. The towering trees drink deeply from the soil it nourishes. The animals hunt and thrive in its life-sustaining shadow. And we, as humans, stand before it in absolute awe, humbled by its majesty. Visual. Camera follows water droplets evaporating, turning into clouds, then a time lapse of rain falling back into the river, completing the cycle. This isn't just a place to visit. It's an experience that stays with you. A powerful reminder of the incredible forces that shape our planet. Iguazu teaches us about resilience, about patience, about the interconnectedness of all life. It's a living masterpiece, waiting to share its story with you. One that starts in the quietude of mountains and culminates in a spectacle of raw, untamed power. We're talking about a place that isn't just a natural wonder, but a living, breathing symphony of water, earth, and sky. Get ready to be awestruck, because we're diving deep into the heart of the Iguazú Falls. Imagine this. High in the majestic Serra do Mar mountains of Brazil, our story begins, not with a roar, but with a whisper. Countless tiny streams, born from the sky's tears and the clouds' embrace, weave their way through Muscovite rocks, each drop contributing to a greater whole. With every kilometer they travel, these small waters gather strength, merging, flowing, becoming one magnificent body. The Iguazu River. It's a journey that stretches for over 1,300 kilometers, winding its way through the emerald tapestry of the jungle. It's a patient trek, an inevitable path leading to its grand, dramatic destiny. A breathtaking plunge into the abyss. Pause. Sound builds slowly. A deeper rumble joins the flow, subtle but noticeable to truly grasp the power, the sheer majesty of Iguazu. You first have to understand its incredible patience. This isn't a sudden burst of energy. It's a timeless process. For millions of years, this river has been diligently sculpting its own masterpiece, grain by painstaking grain. It's been carving through ancient volcanic rock, layers laid down by fires that burned eons ago. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force its will. It simply flows unstoppable, tireless, eternal. The rhythm of the falls is a fascinating paradox, both utter chaos and perfect harmony. Think about this for a second. At any given moment, nearly 2 million liters of water per second plunge from the edge. That's a number so vast, so immense, it's almost impossible to truly comprehend. Yet, when you stand before it, when you simply watch it, it doesn't feel like a chaotic it feels like music. If you close your eyes and listen closely, you can hear it. Each individual waterfall, each cascade, possesses its own unique tone. Some are deep and thunderous, rattling your very bones, a profound bass note in nature's orchestra. Others are light, airy, and whispering, like delicate flutes or violins. Together, they don't just create noise, they create a natural symphony, never-changing opus that never, ever repeats itself. Music cue. Soft orchestral strings layered with real waterfall sounds, perfectly synced, like a melody, rising gently, then holding. From an aerial perspective, high above, the river appears to divide into hundreds of narrow channels, each one an individual ribbon of liquid light, finding its own unique path to the edge. It's a breathtaking sight of division and multiplicity. But then, from below, a different story unfolds. They reunite, not in a calm pool, but in a magnificent explosion of mist and spray. Sunlight catches these rising clouds, bending and refracting, transforming the water droplets into vibrant, shimmering rainbows. The sound, the color, the sheer dynamic movement, all blend into what can only be described as a living symphony. Visual cue, slow aerial pan across 275 separate cascades, with rainbows glowing in the mist, enhancing the visual effect of the narration no human composer, no matter how brilliant, could ever write this music. No artist, no matter how skilled, could ever truly paint it completely. Why? Because Iguazu is profoundly alive. It is a dynamic, ever-changing entity, never static, always evolving. Take the dry season, for example. The river softens its song. The vast sheets of water spread thinner, creating delicate, almost ethereal curtains that sway gently in the breeze. Through these veiled layers, you can glimpse the dark, ancient basalt rock behind them, waiting, observing, a silent testament to the Earth's history. But then, the rains return. Sound builds. Thunder, heavy rainfall, rising current, growing in intensity, and the falls awaken, The gentle song transforms into a powerful, almost overwhelming storm. Water surges with unstoppable force, merging what were once separate falls into one colossal, unified wall of white fury. Trees along the banks seem to bend in deference. The air fills with a mist so thick it blurs the entire world into a beautiful, hazy dream. And yet, through all this magnificent chaos, the profound beauty never disappears. It simply transforms. Softly, in that, my friends, is the true secret of Iguazu. It is never, ever the same river twice. Each visit, each moment, offers a completely new and unique experience. The sheer force of this water doesn't just change the landscape. It changes life itself. Below the falls, the air is so perpetually moist, so saturated with life-giving humidity, that tiny, vibrant ecosystems thrive in the perpetual mist. Delicate mosas cling tenaciously to ancient stones. Beautiful, colorful orchids bloom in what seem like impossible places, defying the odds. And butterflies. Drawn by the rich minerals in the spray, they fill the air like floating jewels. Flashes of yellow, iridescent blue, vibrant red, shimmering silver. Pause allows sound of wings fluttering in soft water trickle to come to the foreground. Then fade slightly the indigenous Guarani people, who have lived with and revered these falls for centuries. Believed these butterflies were the souls of those who had become one with the river. Spirits dancing in the spray. Today, biologists might offer a scientific explanation, simply calling them a part of the unique microclimate. But both perspectives, I believe, hold truth. Science explains the process. Spirit gives it profound meaning. The Iguazu Basin is an ecological treasure trove, a vibrant sanctuary of biodiversity. It's home to over 2,000 species of plants, an astonishing 400 kinds of birds filling the air with song, 80 different mammals traversing its lands, and countless insects, many unseen by the human eye, playing their vital roles. Here, everything, every single living thing, depends intrinsically on the water, the mighty river that sustains it all. The ancient trees drink from the rich soil it nourishes it. The diverse animals hunt and find refuge in its shadows. And we, completing the cycle Iguazu, is more than just a destination. It's an experience that awakens your senses, stirs your soul, and reminds you of the incredible power and beauty of our planet. It teaches us about patience, about persistence, about transformation, and about the interconnectedness of all life. It's a testament to nature's artistry, a reminder that even in chaos, there is profound harmony and breathtaking beauty. If you've been to Iguazu, what was your favorite memory? If not, what are you most excited to experience? Let me know in the comments below. And if you loved this journey into the heart of nature's masterpiece, please hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a dose of natural wonder, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more adventures just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.